week's episode of Super Secret Power-Ups. I'm Lindsay, your super secret life coach, the gal who is going to guide you toward building a super-powered life around your dreams, your passion, and your power. Now, this week at supersecretpowers.com, we're talking all about relationships. Big subject, I know. And I'm going to let you in on what the number one killer of relationships is today. So, get comfortable, because first we have to talk a little bit about energy. In the world of super secret powers, energy is fundamental, because everything comes down to energy. You, the chair you're sitting on, your boss, a rock, it all comes down to energy, including relationships. And this is one of those huge monster topics in size and impact, because relationships are so innate to our well-being, to our holistic well-being. And this video and podcast is going to be a bit of a primer on the energy of relationships. So if you're listening to the podcast, you're not going to get to see the funny little pictures I drew here, and you might want to pop over to the video on my website at some point, just so you can see my funny little pictures, and they'll make more sense if you actually see them instead of me just talking about them. And I'm also going to let you in on that big secret a little bit later in this podcast and video. And this big secret is something we do on all levels, because it's something we kind of believe on all levels. So this really does apply to everyone. Now, because everything is constructed from energy, a relationship is when one person's energy interacts with another person's energy. Our auras mesh and we feel each other out. Having a relationship with somebody doesn't mean we agree with them. It doesn't mean we love the way their energy feels all of the time. And it doesn't even mean we necessarily like that person in that moment. A relationship is about interaction and commingling. I know, it's a funny way to think about relationships, because we tend to take them very personal. From an energetic perspective, though, the ultimate goal of a relationship would be a quality interaction between energies. The energies of ourselves and others, and the energies of ourselves and the world around us. A quality interaction has nothing to do with liking or agreeing necessarily. A quality interaction happens when one person's putting out energy of their own, and the second person or thing accepts that energy, figures out what it means to them, and is able to put out their own energy in response. It should be balanced, and it should be active and focused in this present moment. One person's energy should not be trying to dominate or control another person's energy. Now here's where my funny little pictures come into play. See? Equal, fair, balanced communication. See? Give and take and give and take. Nice, right? So then we have what a person's energy would look like if they're trying to dominate or control another person's energy. See? Oh, actually, that's the wrong picture. There. Oh, I lost it. I lost it. Okay. See? Rawr. They're trying to push their energy off on somebody else in order to get the response that they want. Additionally, one person's energy should not be trying to pry into another person's energy field without that person's express permission. Say, oh, poor me, I feel so sad. Oh, my life's a wreck. Give me pity, give me love. A relationship, a quality energy interaction should be reciprocal. Give and take and give and take. Energy does not have to come in the form of words, but admittedly it's much easier to communicate with words than it is just through energy or body language. An emotional reaction to another's communication is the focus of what we're kind of talking about we're talking about what kills relationships. Because not everybody knows what that give and take feels like. They don't know, and so they can't create that pattern in any new relationships for themselves. And an emotional reaction, it doesn't have to be all gushy with feeling words. Oh, it can just be a glow that was caused by their words to you. Or it could be a look of confusion if you need a little bit of clarity, or even just a giggle if you can commiserate. But let's break this problem down a little bit more. So now we're going to break down this into a little bit more of a real situation here. So when a reaction to another person's words or communication doesn't meet their expectations after they just gave you a little bit of their energy, miscommunication and mistrust is going to begin to build up in that moment of the relationship or communication. And it's not necessarily because you were trying to deceive them or hurt them or even reject them, though I have to say most people are going to feel that way. It's rather that something about that communication, that energy exchange, failed. As people, we try to and we tend to deny that we have a relationship between ourselves and someone or something we don't like. We'll never be like them. But from an energetic perspective, that's impossible. We cannot stop the ebb and flow of our auras and our souls from going out into the greater universe. It's full of its own ebbs and flows. We are all part of a greater whole. So not having a relationship with someone or something we don't like isn't a reality. It's not based on what's happening. Now, we don't live in this perfect world where all of our energy exchanges are always met with equal energy. We don't. And the pattern we learn for energy exchange and communication begins the moment we're born. And because of this illusion that our body, our minds, and our souls are all of us, each one of those things, I am my emotions, I am my body, a failed energy exchange often leaves us feeling rejected. And we come from the belief that a failure in an energy exchange is all about something we did. It kind of leaves us feeling like this. Oh, I don't think they understood me. What did I do wrong? And I wish he had just told me he loved me. From parents to extended family to school friends, early on, we learn a lot about what energies others will welcome from us and which exchanges will fail, leaving us feeling like that last picture. Sometimes we pick up patterns that try to steal or manipulate the energy or emotions of others because, let's face it, we don't like feeling bad. We don't like feeling like that person doesn't like us or accept us. Remember that picture? The rawr picture? Sometimes we try to avoid taking energy, especially when people are angry or sad or upset. We want to retain our emotional purity, our emotional stability, so we try and we block them. We say, I don't know where that picture went, but we say, oh, there it is. So we say, you're blocked. Talk to the hand. We won't accept that energy. We won't accept that level of communication. And on some level, that can be an okay thing. A lot of people do have boundary issues and do need to know when to say no. They need to know when to say, this isn't about me, this is about you. I'm sorry, but it is. And those techniques, well, we didn't develop them for nothing. They're part of our emotional survival kit. But as humans, not only do we need to survive, we need to adapt, we need to evolve. Our ability to have a quality energy exchange and communication and relationship needs to adapt and evolve as we go through life as well. Because we have survived this far in life, most of us don't stop to think about how we're using our energy to communicate. We don't stop to think about our communication skills and if they're really doing what we hope they will. So many couples won't or don't work on their communication or their energies on a regular basis because most people feel like, well, if it's not that broke, well, don't mess with it. And many friends take their words or lack thereof for granted. But we're going to get down to the main takeaway here, okay? So this is when you want to pay attention. We're going to talk about this big secret. So listen up. Okay, so what is the big takeaway from all this? Well, I would love for people to come away from this explanation of the energy behind relationships, to come away with an awareness that in any kind of situation, whether we're meeting somebody new, we're talking to our loved ones, or we're passing a stranger on the street, that there is some kind of energy exchange going on. There's always some kind of exchange going on. And so here are some pretty powerful questions to ask yourself and base your answers on some real life relationships. So, in what relationships are you an equal giver? Where do you have that give and take, give and take? In what relationships are you an over-giver? Where are you pushing your energies and your emotions off on somebody else? In what relationships are you a taker? Where do you try and drag an emotion out from somebody? And where are you a rejecter? Where are you, somebody's going to say, talk to the hand because I don't want to hear it. Now, do keep in mind, being a rejecter isn't a bad thing all the time. Some people do have boundary issues where they need to work on how to say no to somebody and how to say, I understand your problem, I can commiserate, but it's really not my problem to deal with. But until today, were you even aware that communication and relationships and energy exchanges are all about people wanting something from you? Some kind of response from you? Even the lady at the drive-thru asking you if you want cream in your coffee. It all comes down to some kind of energy exchange. So saying, I got your message, or I understand what you're feeling, or yes please, to the lady who's trying to give you cream, will give them something in return, and it shouldn't be draining your energy. So remember, where attention goes, energy flows. And even if you don't agree with somebody, maintaining eye contact with them and letting them know that you heard them or even understood them on some level can go a long way to giving that give and take, that good communication and fair energy exchange is all about. And it shouldn't leave you threatened where you feel like you have to put up those walls or start trying to overcome another person's energy, because it should be given equally. Now here's my big reveal. Here's something that's going to nip a lot of your communication and relationship problems right in the bud. And like I said, this is something that almost everyone believes, and it's really kind of based on what we've been talking about. We don't hear people. We just don't. That's the big secret. We don't hear people. And people do not hear what we are saying. I know. That kind of kills a lot of that woman angst out there of, they don't understand me. Well, they really don't. It's so rare to find that kind of catharsis, to receive that validation, and those relationships are that much more precious that you're able to get that from them. Now, good communication isn't going to solve a dysfunctional relationship necessarily. That's something that's going to take more work than just good communication. But we don't hear people, and they don't exactly hear us. What is being heard is our interpretation of what's going on based on past experience. We anticipate what we're going to hear next, and a lot of the time we begin reacting to the situation before it's even over, because we think we know what's coming. But do we? Is it really that past experience playing out again? This is where we need a little bit of discernment, a little bit of clarity, and to stop living in the past and start living in our present. So the next time there's a little bit of conflict building, there's a little bit of, I don't understand, this doesn't feel equal. Stop. Stop what you're doing. Listen to what they're saying. Then repeat it back to them. Just it, that's it. Repeat it back to them. Now, you don't necessarily want to trip the other person's own defenses. You don't want to make them go into their past communication badlands and never come back. You want to approach it fairly. Approach it how you would want to be approached. So you can just start with something like, oh, hold on a second. I think you said you were feeling this. Did I get it right? But that should alert the other person that you're trying to understand them. It will cause them to slow down their thought process and think about what they're trying to communicate, what they're trying to contribute to this conversation. It could help stop some of the emotional reaction a person might be putting out there that might be making you feel uncomfortable. Just trying this tip, which is actually part of active listening, can push a reset button on the exchange that's happening and turn it right on its head. You might find that you were taking a person's talk way too seriously or too personally, or perhaps there really was just a miscommunication. So that about wraps it up for this week's Power Up podcast and video. And if you have any questions for me, put it in the comments on my website at www.supersecretpowers.com. And who knows, your question might be featured in one of my podcasts. And while you're there, sign up for the site and get some awesome free gifts simply for doing that. And check out all the articles and tools there, because I do a lot more than podcasts, folks. So if you're just listening to the podcast or the videos, you're only getting half superpowered, and you should be going forward with all of your power and your passion. So get on the site and stay tuned for another installment of Super Secret Power-Ups by me, Lindsay, your Super Secret Life Coach. Now you go have a super powered day.